we're going to talk about is the announcement of the new legendary Arc V or Arc 5 decks, depending on how you pronounce that. I never know what exactly the right way to do it is. And this is exciting because the legendary decks have just been a product that they've been doing more recently. I feel like maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't remember them doing these as frequently as they are right now, which I think is cool because they've been just some of the best products we've gotten recently are legendary decks. I mean, the Mitsurugi, Sky Striker, and X-Saber are legendary modern decks, but also the legendary 5Ds decks were really good with like all the reprints for the Mold Charmies and just the concept of being able to pick up like one of these and getting like a bunch of viable cards paired with some new cards, some good reprints. Like, it's just been really good products. So I'm a big fan of the fact that they are continuing this product line of the legendary decks, and now we are getting the legendary decks for the Pendulum anime. So I guess we'll see what's in here. We have Odd Eyes, Lunalight, and Speedroid, which once again, this is a combination of 3 decks in one product. If I'm understanding it correctly, that's how it was with all of the previous legendary decks. It was always 3 decks combined in one product, so it's not 3 separate things. It's one box, and you get all 3. And so we're gonna have, legendary Arc V decks has the same structure as the March legendary modern decks. 3 55 card decks, each with a 40 card main deck and 15 card extra deck, with 1 secret rare, 6 ultra rares per deck, plus a bonus packet with a 56th card for each deck, a secret rare copy of one of the 6 cards from that deck, with a chance to upgrade to a Starlight rare. Also see special news at the bottom. I guess we'll have to wait and see what that is. And just like the legendary modern decks, the legendary Arc V decks are loaded with multiple of the cards you need to play these decks, and multiple of the popular staple cards that everyone wants for any deck these days. This is also one of the things that I'm a big fan of with these decks, is that they back in the day, or I mean not even just back in the day, but with most of like the structure decks and stuff, they would always just have like every card once, so they were not usable out of the box. And even though some of these modern decks, like there are still some cards in there that are just a one of, the majority of the cards, especially the ones that are important to the deck's strategy, are in there in multiples, which I think is good. It's just a nice little thing that removes some barrier of entry for people who are just picking up the decks and they don't know, like, okay, how often am I supposed to play this or that card? It's pretty obvious, like, okay, like the best cards in the deck are in there as a 3 of, so you know what to do, right? Which is good. So yeah, each new deck has a brand new trick up its sleeve. Let's take a look, which means that they're gonna give us new cards for Odd Eyes, for Lunalight, and for Speedroid, which is interesting because Lunalight in particular is already a quite viable meta deck at the moment, and a very polarizing one at that. You know, some people really like playing the Lunalight deck, and some people really hate playing against it, so this is potentially big news in a good or a bad way, depending on where you stand on that, I suppose. And then Odd Eyes and Speedroid are both currently not super competitive, so this could help them get there. I think Speedroid in particular has some pretty interesting cards already, so is not that far maybe from being viable. We'll see. Odd Eyes swings back into action with a new Link 3 Odd Eyes monster with 2500 attack. It can destroy any one other card you control to draw a card, and if you destroy the Pendulum monster card, you get an extra Pendulum summon for your Performapal, Magician, or Odd Eyes monsters. And for an Encore, during your turn, it can negate any effect that your opponent activates by simply discarding a card. Alright. This, to me, and it's a little annoying that we don't get the full, like, the pictures of the cards. Well, we just get to, like, guess exactly how it's worded, or we don't know what the conditions to summon this card are. We don't know what the link material needs to be or whatever. To me, this reads like an incredibly problematic card, because it's essentially a Link 3 that you probably summon to just insulate from hand traps, because once again, this is one of the main things I've been complaining with K9 Ripper recently. It's just like a card that, you know, decks summon. It further facilitates your combos by doing something, and then it also negates hand traps. And this is something that I'm particularly concerned about when it comes to Pendulum decks. And Pendulum in general, I mean, I don't have to hide the fact that I'm not a big fan of the pendulum combo slop that's been running around, and this seems like a card that's actually quite strong for decks like this, because, well, you're just gonna summon a Link 3 that's gonna negate hand traps, and it's going to give you an extra pendulum summon, which basically translates to, like, depending on where the arrows of this card go as well. Like, let's say this is a Link 3 that points all, like, downwards 3 ways, like bottom left, bottom, and bottom right. That's potentially giving you the ability to summon 3 monsters from your extra deck with that additional pendulum summon for basically free and negating hand traps. So not off to a good start here for me personally. This is something that I understand is subjective. Some people are really gonna enjoy this card, but I really won't, because I don't really want to deal with Pendulum being in the format anymore. Pendulum hate is so forced. I don't know why you think that. I think Pendulum as a playstyle is very polarizing, and I think it's completely reasonable to not like playing against it. The only reason why you could say Pendulum hate is forced is because Pendulum isn't popular. But I guarantee you, if this card makes Pendulum popular, people are going to be really upset with that. I mean, there's going to be some people that are going to really enjoy playing it, but it's a very polarizing deck. Like, if you ever sit across from a Pendulum player when they go first, you're not going to enjoy your time. And I think that's the opposite of forced. Okay. Lunalight came in 2nd place at the World Championship 2025. So what do you give the deck that has almost everything? Answer: more ways to set up for fusion summoning. Well, maybe the answer is nothing. Maybe the answer is, if a deck that already has everything, maybe you just don't. Okay, well, and you can special summon the deck's new level 5 Beast Warrior from your hand anytime your Lunalight monster activates its effect. And if your opponent activated a card or effect in the same turn, you can also grab a Polymerization from your deck or graveyard, so you're all set to go. As a backup feature, if this brand new Lunalight monster is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon another Lunalight monster from your graveyard or face up extra deck. Okay. This card is interesting, but at the same time, I think there's one good thing about it, which to me, it reads like, once again, we don't have the exact effect, but it reads to me as if this is not a starter, which is going to make the deck not more consistent than it already is, which is good. It still feels like a card that Lunalight players could consider playing, because it reads to me as a very good extender, but an extender that gets better if your opponent hand traps you, right? Because if your opponent activated a card or effect that turn, you not only get to special summon it, but you also get to add Polymerization, which is probably the best part about it. Because I don't think the ability to just summon it from your hand is that amazing, because it is a level 5 monster, which I don't think is particularly good in Lunalight to summon a level 5 onto your field. Unless people start mixing, like, I don't know, K9 into the deck. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but that sounds terrifying. Other than that, I think an extender that lets you play through hand traps really well is good, because getting a body that also searches Polymerization for free. Polymerization is a really powerful card in Lunalight, especially if you have a Lunalight that provides a body and searches the poly for free, because you can just go into Serenade Dancer. Not Serenade Dancer. You go into Perfume Dancer and just keep playing. That seems powerful. And also, it reads to me, unless it's, once again, this is the problem with, we don't know exactly how these cards are worded, because there's a big difference here between you can only use each effect once per turn, or you can only use one of the 2 effects per turn, right? So we're gonna have to wait and see. But if you can just special summon this, if you get hand trapped, and search poly, and then fuse with it, make Perfume Dancer, search Perfume, and also get the graveyard effect to revive a Lunalight monster from grave or extra deck, face up extra deck, that could potentially be a really good fusion material as well. So it's like a card that searches poly and is a good fusion material. But once again, we don't know exactly what the wording on this card is. So if maybe you can only use one of the 2 effects per turn, I would say it's probably not good enough to see play. The special summon is if you activated a Lunalight in the turn. Yeah, but that's good. I mean, that's basically if your opponent has hand trapped you at any point, you can just special this and search poly. That reads like a good card to me. But it's still, I think it's dependent a little bit on being able to activate both effects in the same turn. Because if you can only get one of the two, then I think it's maybe not strong enough. It could be a one of maybe. Yeah. But also, once again, we don't know exactly how it's going to work, because from the way I read it here, it says anytime your Lunalight monster activates its effect, right? Anytime your Lunalight monster activates its effect, to me sounds like it's a quick effect that has to chain to a Lunalight. You know what I mean? It doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound like if you've activated a Lunalight effect this turn, you can special this from your hand at any point. That's not what I read into this. But that's not exactly, like, we don't have confirmation on that. It could also be a trigger, like Jiaolong. Yeah, it could also be a trigger that activates on a new chain after your Lunalight effect has activated, right? Which is better because then it can't be chain blocked. So let's say you normal summon Gold Leo, activate effect, they activate Imperm on a new chain, you can then special summon this card and search Poly because your opponent has activated the Imperm in that turn, right? So I could see that being the case. If it's a trigger, it would work better with Gold Leo. Can Gold Leo search level 5 monsters, or is it level 4 or lower? Any Lunalight mon. Okay, so so you could, in theory, if it's a trigger, you could just add it with Gold Leo, discard something else, and then immediately special summon it, right? But then you wouldn't get polymerization unless your opponent has done something else this turn, but yeah. It reads interesting to me. It reads interesting to me for the Lunalight deck, which of course, once again, similar to the Odd Eyes, I suppose. Whether you are happy that these cards are being made depends on whether you like the deck that they are made for, right? Which is always the case with new support, I suppose. But they both read pretty strong without knowing the exact effects, right? But it looks like the Odd Eyes is going to be really strong and insulating combos for going first from hand traps. And the Lunalight also feels like a pretty strong extender slash also a way to break boards. You know, when you're playing into a board and you can just get a free body on the board that searches Poly and even revives something from the graveyard later, that sounds like good value. That really sounds like good value for Lunalight. So good news for Odd Eyes enjoyers and good news for Lunalight enjoyers. Bad news if you're not a fan of these decks, I suppose. Speedroid is gunning for first place by accelerating its synchro summoning. Its brand new level 4 tuner wind monster can be special summoned from your hand by sending any Speedroid card from your deck to the graveyard. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can grab a Speedroid spell trap from your deck, and then if you control a Clearwing, you can destroy any monster on the field. Okay, they gave Speedroid a circular. How broken is this for Speedroid in particular? What's like is there a crazy target? If I can send any Speedroid card from the deck to the grave, is there something good? Very broken. Duplicate. Speedroid duplicate. Oh, it's a trap. Okay. Banish a wind monster from your grave, then target a card your opponent controls during your main phase. If this card's in your grave, you can target a level 2 or higher Speedroid you control, reduce its level by 1. If you do, special summon this card as a normal monster, machine tuner. Okay. So it's just basically 2 bodies. Dude, Speedroid has a lot of really high quality starters. Like Terror Top as well. Yeah, that feels like a broken starter. So what you do is you special summon the new card by sending Duplicate. Then you use Duplicate to get a token, or special summon itself as a normal monster. Not the same as a token, but similar. And then you can make a Link 2. You get an instant Link 2 Speedroid, which I think they have good starters in their Link. Like it was like Rubber Band Plane or Rubber Band Shooter. I don't know what the name of the Link 2 is, but they have like a good Link 2 that starts the turn. And then you link off for that, and then this also gets a Speedroid spell trap from the deck. Right, so this card, no normal summon, gets you to 2 bodies and a free spell trap. That sounds like a really, really powerful tool for Speedroids. And like I said earlier, I think Speedroid is not that far off from being a good deck. So this could actually do it. I don't know. It once again, it does depend a little bit on the conditions on this card, on the exact wording, right? Because once they release the actual text, we don't know if it has a if it has a condition like you have to control no monsters, right? And that is something that might matter, because if you have to control no monsters for this, you can't search it like in the middle of your combo. But if it doesn't have that restriction, then you can just search it in the middle of your combo, and there you go. And there you go, right? So with 3 ready-to-play decks, brand new cards, and another round of everyone's favorite staple cards that go great in any deck, Legendary Arc V-Dex has something for everyone, whether you're new, returning, or experienced duelist. Okay. Special news. Oh, this is the Starlight Rare changes. Okay. I see. That we've already talked about this, that the fact that the Starlight Rares are going to look a little bit different, but okay. This is going to come out 6th of August, 2026, which is in less than 4 months. So not actually that far away. I mean, still a couple of tournaments until then. You know, we've got National Season, European Championship / NAWCQ, and other Continentals are all happening before this. I'm not sure if it's in time for the World Championships. And even if it is, might not be legal depending on all the other regions, whether they have the cards or not. But it's not that far off. For the TCG at least. And okay, you know what, I like it. I'm like not the biggest fan of these individual decks. I think I mean, you guys know I don't like Pendulum. We don't have to talk about that, but at the same time, I still really like these products. I think the legendary decks have been awesome. One of the bigger reasons why the game has been getting more and more accessible in this year. I mean, the rarity collections and other reprint sets have done a good job at that as well, but the legendary decks are really just such a phenomenal concept and such a no-brainer to basically just release decks that are ready to play or almost ready to play for newer players, which is super good. And so I'm happy that we're getting these more regularly. And so for this one, even if I'm not the biggest fan of the archetypes, I'm still a big fan of the fact that this is happening. So we'll have to wait and see how good exactly these cards are once we get the exact wording, but they do sound, all 3 of them sound really good to me. Like the Lunalight card seems like a good extender / way to play into boards. The Speedroid card seems completely custom for Speedroids. And honestly, the Odd Eyes, as much as I don't like Pendulum, is kind of like the perfect card for the Pendulum decks, because it's like a Link 3 combo enabler that negates hand traps, which is what every combo deck in the world dreams of. So yeah, it's good. I found this on Twitter for Speedroid Cooking Lines. They're using Circular as a placeholder for the new card, which I guess is accurate enough. So okay, you go Circular, send duplicate, and Circular make Rubber Band Shooter, and you get Speedroid Scratch. Rubber Band Shooter sends Red Eye Dice to grave or something. I mean, that yeah, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot of right, Speedroid gets a new overframe. I forgot about this. That's a lot from one card. That is a lot from one card. I don't know exactly what all these cards do. I forgot what I don't know what the Crystal Clear Wing over Synchro Dragon does, but that's a lot for one card. Okay. This looks so super polyable. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's crazy that in the modern day for Yu-Gi-Oh, seeing all of this happening from one card, like 4 years ago, I would have been outraged by this when I was complaining about Circular and the direction that all these one card combos were going. But in the context of modern Yu-Gi-Oh, you just gotta say, like, yeah, okay, this one card combo is crazy, but it's not gonna be the determining factor of whether this deck is good or not. Because these days, every Yu-Gi-Oh deck, if it resolves one card, is gonna have a crazy board. It's just gonna be a matter of how resilient is this deck through interruption, how easy is it to break this board, how good is it into the hand traps that people are playing, and so on and so forth. Like for almost any Yu-Gi-Oh deck these days, you're going to be able to find like a crazy turn 1 combo off of one card, which, you know, that's whether that's a good or a bad thing is subjective and not really that's a discussion for another day. Loses to Set Albaz. Oh yeah, most of these are dragons, I think. This one is not, but I think all the monsters, all of them are dragons. Yeah, sure. One is a machine. Yeah, the Link is a machine. I don't know. Can't really see the thing on the overframe, but the other ones I'm pretty sure are all dragons. The bike is a machine. Yeah, this is a machine too, but they're not keeping it on the end board here. Did you see the new Droll and Lockbird they're releasing in the TCG? Dude, I wish I could do that. I wish I could bring Charlie with me to events and do this when my opponent goes first. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Dude, scary freeze frame, holy.